Welcome back again today. Today we're going to be talking about the founder of the modern day city of Chicago in the state of Illinois in the Midwest of the United States. Jean-Baptiste du Sable was believed to be born in Saint-Marc on the island of Saint-Domingue. This island is now known as the country of Haiti today. He is known as the first non-tribal person to settle the area. He was believed to be born around 1745 to a freed African slave mother and his French mariner father. His mother would be killed in 1755 due to Spanish raid. Jean would then escape and swim out to sea. Jean would find safety on one of his father's ships. He would soon leave with his father to France, and this is where he acquired his education and learned multiple languages. These languages were English, French, Spanish, and Native American dialects. John would also work for his father on his ship, in which he acquired further skills such as navigation and sailing. During his stay in France, he became very interested in the arts. He would start to collect valuable arts from around the country. Jean would start to sell ships under his father's fleet, and once returning to Haiti, he would set out for the United States. Once returning back to the Americas, he would head to New Orleans. By 1765, New Orleans was a Spanish territory instead of a French one. This was very bad for Jean. He was almost enslaved in Louisiana. During his trip to the city, he would lose his ID-free papers and was hurt at sea whilst escaping his damaged ship. Jean would flee to the mainland with his French friend, Jacques Clément. Jean would be lucky as French priests protected him just long enough for him to regain his health. He would then move north through the Mississippi River with his friend Jacques, and also a native Choctaw leader to help guide him to the north. The Choctaw leader was a native to the Midwest Great Lakes region and was working for a Catholic mission. Jean persuaded him to join him to the north while teaching and helping him navigate the lands. The Choctaw leader would eventually introduce Jean to the legendary Chief Pontiac. Chief Pontiac would lead his people against the British in multiple wars in the Midwest. Chief Pontiac liked Jean and the others so much, he would enlist them to help make peace with the neighboring tribes like the Illinois, Miami, and Ottawa tribes. Jean, Jacques, and the Choctaw leader became so good at peace talks that they would go on to set up new trade with other tribes and Europeans as well. Jean would settle in Peoria, Illinois. He would be accepted by the local Potawatomi tribe, and he established a farm and a trading post on the northern bank of the Chicago River. He would buy 800 acres and had a large estate with a garden, orchard, bakehouses, stables, a main house with 5 corner rooms, and employee houses. Jean also had fine walnut furniture, hogs, mills, and fine arts. During the American Revolution, Jean would be forced off his land for some time. He would then leave for Michigan to set up another trading post. Jean would go through many Midwest states such as Indiana and Michigan. Jean was even arrested in 1779 by British troops. The British troops that occupied Michigan City in Indiana thought Jean was a spy. They would put him in a local fort prison, and soon after, he would be released. Jean would be released to manage a tract of woodlands in eastern Michigan. This land was owned by British Lieutenant Patrick Sinclair. Once free, he would marry a native woman in the late 1700s. Jean would marry a Potawatomi woman by the name of Kitehawa. They would go on to have a son named Jean and a daughter named Suzanne. In 1788, Jean and Kitehawa would marry once more in a Catholic ceremony on the Mississippi River. In 1779, Jean would settle the shores of Lake Michigan in a marshy, wild onion-filled area. The natives in the area called the location Escaycago, or the place of bad smells. This name was used due to the smell of wild onions carried upstream. Jean would be the first non-Potawatomi to settle in the area, and then also what would become the large city of Chicago. In 1796, their granddaughter became the first child born in what would be known as Chicago. In the year 1800, on May 7th, Jean would sell his trading post for $1,200 to John Kinsey. Jean would then move to Missouri's St. Charles. At this time, the area was still part of French Louisiana. The French governor of Missouri would commission him to operate a ferry across the Missouri River. Jean was never as successful as he was in Chicago, and in 1818, he would pass away at his daughter's house. He would be buried in a Catholic cemetery in St. Charles. Jean was recognized in 1968 as the founder of Chicago by the state office. Jean was recognized in 1968 as the founder of Chicago by state officials. Jean's settlement at the mouth of the Chicago River is now recognized as a National Historic Landmark. Please like the video, subscribe, also turn on the bell notification so you get all my videos. Add me on all social medias, which is Africnetwork. And until next time, peace, one love.